Okay, let's get this started. So I'm going to do a bit of a voiceover for this video. I was thinking I'd put just some punk rock music on top of it and drop it on YouTube and then send it to Facebook. But I'm not going to do that. Make it maybe for some of you who are a little bit interested in the tiny off-road scene for the very rare CX bike in Taiwan. Gravel riding, nice single line trails. To be honest, they don't really exist in most of Taiwan. Taiwan is dominated by the road bike, and that's great. It's awesome. I have like 3 or 4 road bikes and I love them to death. About a year ago I got this bike. It's a giant TCX carbon frame with the actual CX gearing, so I've got a 36 and 64 FSA crank with a 1225 cassette, which isn't really that awesome for a lot of the riding in Taiwan because those numbers really require, you got to bring your A game to get up some of the really steep hills with a 36 and a 25 combination on the gears there. So with that said, I'm very fortunate because here in northern Taiwan and on the outskirts of Taiwan County, I have been able to find some honest to God real gravel riding, which is really cool because usually you just get tons of rocks or you get extreme silly downhill drops that are, you've got to have double suspension or you got to have like just balls of steel to just do that on a hardtail. So, and I'm not a really good downhill rider, and I really don't like crazy extreme downhill stuff. When I found some of these 2.5 kilometer, 3 kilometer off-road loops within 10 kilometers of where I live, I was just thrilled. Now, you're going to get bored doing it over and over again, but I've kind of created a connection of a handful of loops, which is great because it requires a little bit of road riding, and then you get what you're seeing here in the video. And this is only 3 kilometers from my house. Wow, did you see that truck? And it's actual honest gravel, like small rocks, and it's not epically super silly dangerous. Granted, when you go downhill, sometimes if it's a bit loose, if the gravel or the rocks are a bit loose, you can lose it a bit, but it's not such a big deal. It's not loose sand or anything like that. Now, what you're looking at here is near the Shangbi MRT station, about 5 or 6 stops from the international airport. You could actually put your bike in a bag on the MRT and bring it to this location, and you could do these loops that I'm going to introduce in this video. And I'd like to, if you want to do it, and if you're watching this, just message me and I'll totally come out and ride with you. You would definitely need, a lot of guys say, I can do that on a road bike. Sure, probably. Most of it, I'd say 90% sure. I think you probably can do it on a road bike. Can you go really fast on some of the downhill sections? If you're crazy and you're like, I'm just going to do this, I guess you could try it. I don't know if it'd be that safe. The uphill stuff in this particular section that I'm going on right now, it gets a bit hairy. There are a lot of broken pieces of rocks and glass and all kinds of that glass. I don't know what it is. It's like ceramic pieces that the farmers just dropped on the road, and it's bumpy, it's rooty, and I would not want to ride a road bike with 25 millimeter tires up this crazy rooted road, and it gets a bit where just see all these bumps. It's just hitting it, I wouldn't want to ride with somebody on a road bike going up this because I'd end up waiting for them. And this is the thrill of the ride. It's only like a 3% uphill, which is really great. 5% at most, and there are a couple steep little sections that you can just power right up. But would I want to go out with somebody on a road bike and do this? Probably not. I'd like to do it with somebody on a mountain bike, hardtail, I think a dual suspension on this actual 3-kilometer loop would be overkill and slow. So this is kind of cool. Right here's a bit of a steep turn, and because I'm just kind of figuring out the area, I know that I've explored the area, and I used to just do kind of a U-ey right here, a U-turn, and there are always a couple dogs. So this is somebody's farmland, and there are no signs posted that say don't enter, or there's no fence. And I've had a couple guys drive down the road and look at me and say hello. So they all seem pretty friendly, and I don't think I'm in any trespassing or anything like that. But coming across this kind of road in Taiwan that's not meant to be like the Bunker Hill stuff or the lines up in Hutoshan, or I know down in Taiwan on the Super 8 trail. This is just some DIY farming land that the farmers use to go back and forth between point A and B. But when I found this, which you're about to see in a minute here, I was just like, wow, this is super cool. And I've had a couple guys yell at me like, no, there's no road. The Chinese is like Mayolu, which is right, because you could not drive a car down this. And I think you could do a scooter, I think, or a motorcycle for sure. But it's sweet. It's super nice. And it's, like I said, 3% downhill, complete clean single track, not too rocky, and it's fast and fun. I mean, it's just like the bee's knees going down this thing, because you're just blowing by all this green, and you got a clean line just to follow. And if you went off the line, you're going to probably be in trouble. And it's just like a drop off of about 15 feet, maybe 10 meters, I don't know, on the other side. So you'd be done, basically. And nobody's going to come and see you for days. I haven't seen anybody on this trail. So it's got that dangerous element, which is kind of fun, trees and whatnot, and just bombing down this thing. And it's just one really nice, just really sweet thrill. So today, the ride was only about 17 kilometers, and I think I did the first loop, which is 2 or 3 kilometers, 2.5, 3 kilometers, and this loop, which is also 3.5. So of the 17K, let's just call it 6 kilometers of off-road riding, which is almost a third of the ride. Now, it was a small ride today. Usually Sunday I take it easy. That's a third of the ride off-road, and I didn't have to go very far to get to this area. And then when you pop out onto the road here, you're still in kind of farmland area, and you just bomb down this, and it's so nice. And I would say that it's such a really nice area, and I want to make a ride. So okay, the video's over, and I'm about to be done talking. Hope you enjoyed it. There we go.